Greetings fellow Earthlings and welcome back to Darlingbrough Sci-Fi Builds. I'm Richard. In my previous video I started to build an airlock door. As I mentioned previously, it is going to be appearing in the side of an extraterrestrial mountain range and appear to be the entrance to some kind of secret extraterrestrial base. In this video I continue to expand on this project, building up the landform that will surround this airlock door. The first thing I did was glue some triangular pieces of wood to the back of the airlock door. This allowed the piece to stand upright independently. Using some thin chipboard, I also created a couple of other pieces that would fit loosely on the sides. Again, gluing some triangles into place on the back so that they could remain upright. I then placed all three pieces together to form a very basic scene. This is the basis from which I am going to work up from. In order to create the underlying structure, I decided to use some polystyrene pieces. Before I decided on sticking anything down, I started to play around with the pieces of polystyrene, putting them into place to see where I want the rocks and the formations to be made. One of the benefits of using polystyrene is that it is very readily available and often free. It's also very lightweight and it's also strong enough to support the weight of any coverings that you're going to be applying over the top. Polystyrene is very easy to use and can be cut using either a very sharp knife or a hot wire cutter. In order to make sure that I wasn't going to put any of the polystyrene pieces in an area that would interfere with the back walls of the model, I used a red felt marker and drew a line around the base of the walls. Once I had my guideline drawn down, I then removed all three back walls so that I could start building up this structure. I decided rather early on that I wanted the centre section of the floor to be more or less clear, because I imagined this was going to be a high traffic area where maybe vehicles or people would be travelling in and out of the airlock door. Therefore, I didn't want any rocks to be in the way. I then started to hot glue the polystyrene pieces into place on the floor and onto the side walls as well. The reason that I chose to use hot glue is that I found it was a very easy method of roughly sticking the polystyrene pieces in place. I then hot glued both of the side walls into place. However, I deliberately left the airlock so that I could remove it. Once I was fairly happy with the polystyrene substructure, I then started to consider how I would create realistic looking rocks. One of my first decisions was to perhaps use some bark pieces. Now, I have actually tried using bark pieces in the past and created some test pieces, and as you can see, it can look very effective, especially once it's been painted. I had a look through my collection of bark pieces and started to lay them out on the diorama where I felt they may be suitable. Just as a slight warning, if you are choosing to use any natural material, for example bark pieces, it is always recommended that you give it some sort of treatment before applying it to any model. By treating it, you will be able to reduce any moisture and any possible bacteria or organisms that may be living in the bark. Now, there are several different ways you can do this. You can either give it a watered down bleach wash, or you can do what I did and put it in the oven for a few minutes just to kill off any remaining organisms. Now, obviously, just be aware if you are putting anything in the oven, make sure you don't do what I do and forget about it, and then have your missus come down about 20 minutes later asking why she can smell burning. I did that, and I'm sorry. Yes, the secret's out now. Another method that you can use to create rocks is by using rocks made from plaster. Pre-made rock molds are available for purchasing from companies such as Woodland Scenics. However, you can also make your own rock molds using a variety of different methods. Now, I have been working on producing some videos which explains these techniques in more detail, and I will be releasing them on this channel shortly. So if you are interested in looking at that, then please make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. However, if you also want an exclusive viewing of these when they are released, then you can get one by buying me a coffee. Anybody who buys me a coffee will get emailed a direct link to view the videos as soon as they are released. Now, anybody who doesn't buy me a coffee, that's fine. You will still be able to access these videos. However, it will be a few days after the release date. And so if you are looking for an exclusive, then by buying me a coffee, that just gets you that little sneak peek, really. If you are buying me a coffee, I do appreciate it. And any of the funds that are donated just help to run and maintain the channel. It helps me to purchase materials. It helps me to buy new tools and equipment and just basically keep the lights on, really. My long-term goal is to have this channel and my other channel, Darlingbrough Model Railway, running as a full-time career. So if you are interested in helping me do that, then buying me a coffee really does help. So I thank you in advance, and let's get on with the next part of the video. In the end, I decided to create the rock face and the rock shapes using some plaster and some toilet roll. Now, as you can see, there is still a gap where the rocks do not go all the way up to the top of the walls. And I have actually done this deliberately. But if you want to see the reason for that decision, then I'm afraid you're going to have to wait until the next video in this series. Don't worry, I will be releasing it soon, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out. If you want to see it on the day I upload it to YouTube, then by all means, as I've mentioned before, buy me a coffee and you'll give you a link to that once it's uploaded. If not, then I will be scheduling it for probably a few days after that, so you'll still be able to catch it. In the meantime, if you haven't seen it already, check out part 1 of this build so you can be brought up to speed. And in the meantime, I will see you later.